Good evening. It's been over a month, so welcome to the Thursday, May 27th, 2021 Kern County Planning Commission hearing. We are going to start with a roll call vote. Clerk, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Ashley?
Here.
Mr. Judge?
Here.
Mr. McGivney?
Here.
Mrs. Skidmore?
Here.
Mr. Sprague?
Here.
Mr. Hall?
Here.
Mr. Murphy?
Here.
Ms. Simon?
Here.
I found it once before, but I can't remember. So which one?
Great. The County of Kern provided notice that as a result of the declared federal, state, and local emergencies due to COVID-19 pandemic and in light of the governor's order, this Kern County Planning Commission meeting is not physically open to the public. Testimony and general public comment are accepted via email or voice message to the clerk of the commission prior to tonight's meeting, and live comments via teleconference will be held during the meeting. If you are interested in providing comments on any item on the agenda and have not already received direction, please contact the clerk at 661-496-7487. We'll begin tonight's meeting with commission member announcements or reports.
I have none.
Seeing none, we will move on to item number C, approval of the minutes from April 22nd, 2021.
Madam Chair, motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second that.
and a second. All ayes?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving on to item number D, cases withdrawn or requests for continuance. We have 3 items, number 1, number 5, and number 6. I will be passing this over to Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. The first case that is being recommended for continuance is CUP 16, map number 121. Our applicant is Gurdal Singh and Balbear Kerr. The recommendation for this project is to be continued to your June 24th, 2021 hearing. The next item, item number 5, this is GPA number 10, map number 78, modification to CUP 1, map number 78. The applicant is the Kern County Public Works Waste Management Department. That recommendation is to continue this project until June 10th, 2021. And the third case, there are numerous cases on it. This is the Raceway 2.0 solar project by AES Corporation, which is formerly S-Power Development Corporation. That recommendation is to continue that project until your June 24th, 2021 hearing. That completes the reading of the items requested for continuance.
Great, so we have 3 items requested for continuance.
I'll take a motion to continue these cases to the dates represented here in the withdrawn number D.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All ayes? Oh, we need to do a roll call vote.
Aye.
Sorry about
Roll call vote.
Okay, Mr. Ashley?
Yes.
Mr. Judge?
Yes.
Mr. McGivney?
Yes.
Ms. Skidmore?
that. Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Agenda item E, consent agenda. These are items scheduled before the Planning Commission, which are being recommended for approval by the staff, and the applicant has been informed of any special conditions and has no objection. The hearing on these items may be expedited if no member of the commission or audience wish to comment or ask questions on the case. We have 2 cases, number 2 and number 3. Mr. Murphy, I will pass it over to you.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. The first item, case number 2, this is the Gettysburg Solar Project. The applicant is Gettysburg Solar Farm, LLC by QK Inc. This project is located approximately 1/4 mile east of the intersection of Roseman Boulevard and 80th Street West, all within the, or near the community of Roseman. There are a number of specific plan amendments, changes in zone classification, and conditional use permits that are proposed as part of this project. In total, if adopted by your commission or recommended by your commission, you would be authorizing a 30 megawatt solar facility that would include 120 megawatt hours of storage, all on an approximately 158 acre site. An addendum to the previously certified and approved AV Apollo solar project was done for CEQA for this particular project. The staff recommendation is to advise your commission to recommend the Board of Supervisors to certify sorry, I apologize, you don't certify an addendum, so the recommendation, we're gonna have a revised recommendation. The staff recommendation is to advise your commission to recommend the Board of Supervisors to adopt 15091 findings of fact and section 15093 statement of overriding considerations, adopt a mitigation measure monitoring program, approving the specific plan amendments to the map code designations of the Willow Springs specific plan as requested, approve the zone change as requested, approve the conditional use permits, all subject to the conditions, and approve the amendment to the circulation element of the Willow Springs specific plan as requested, and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached draft resolution. The next item on consent is conditional use permit number 8, map number 219. Our applicant is AT&T Wireless by Beacon Development, LLC. This project is located at 7815 Grapevine Road, west of Interstate 5 in the Lebec area. The action before your commission tonight is modification number 1 to conditional use permit number 8, map number 219. The specific proposal would allow for the removal of an existing 22-foot tall mounting frame and replace it with a 40-foot tall monopole wireless communication tower, and the relocation of existing antennas and the addition of a new wireless carrier antennas, the addition of a new equipment cabinet within the existing approximately 902 square foot lease area, all located within an A zone district. The staff recommendation is to approve modification to conditional use permit number 8, map number 219, in accordance with the recommended conditions, and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached draft resolution. That completes the reading of the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Coming back to the commission for any comments or concerns. Seeing none, is there anyone from the public that would like to engage on either of these items?
Madam Chair, no requests to speak have been received.
Great. I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to approve items number 2 and 3 as read into the record by staff.
Thank you. We have a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. Roll call vote.
Mr. Ashley?
Yes.
Mr. Judge?
Yes.
Mr. McGivney?
Yes.
Ms. Skidmore?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
All ayes.
Thank you. Are there any right to appeals on this item?
There are, Madam Chair. Case number 3 is final unless appealed. For projects where the Planning Commission is final, those actions are subject to appeal to the Board of Supervisors by any interested person, and no development proposed by any application may be authorized until after the final date of appeal. Again, that applies to item number 3 this evening. That appeal may be filed with the Kern County Planning and Natural Resources Department, located at 2700 M Street, Suite 100 in Bakersfield, with the filing fee of $540 on forms we have available at the Planning Department and are located on our website. That filing must be made within 14 days of and including the date of tonight's hearing. Again, if no appeal is received, the action of the commission is final.
Thank you. We are on to item F, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the commission on any matter not on this agenda and over which the commission has jurisdiction. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to speak?
Madam Chair, no requests to speak have been received.
Thank you. We're on item G, and this is case number 4. Ms. Simon, thank you.
Thank you, Chairwoman Skidmore and Commissioners. Allow me to get my maps in order here. Thank you. The project before you this evening is modification number 1 of conditional use permit 10, map 41-30. The applicant is Southern California Edison, represented by Flynn Consulting Engineers. The location of the project is on Lake Isabella Boulevard in Lake Isabella, approximately a quarter mile north of Kernville Road. This section of Lake Isabella Boulevard is sparsely developed with low-impact storage-type businesses. Along the eastern boundary of the site is the Southern California Edison Canal, and an established mobile home park abuts the canal a little bit further to the east of the site. The original project was heard before your commission on July 4th, 2016, where a pointed discussion took place regarding the concerns of the daily impacts to the residents at the mobile home park because of the use and hours being proposed by the applicant. Because of the intense proposed use and what could be odd hours of operation, depending if crews from the Southern California Edison were responding to an emergency, your commission took all this into consideration, as well as concerns from the adjacent neighbors, And ultimately, your commission authorized the construction of the contractor's storage yard when accessory and incidental to a contractor's business office, and to be wholly enclosed within a solid screening fence. As part of that approval, your commission imposed specific conditions to address concerns from the residents. The first was mitigation measures that was recommended as part of the mitigated negative declaration that was prepared for the project to address construction noise and ongoing daily noise from regular operations on site. This mitigation measure specified that during grading and construction activities, acoustical blankets were required to be installed on the chain link fence along the eastern property line. Excuse me. And in addition, a mitigation measure was included to install an 8-foot masonry wall along the eastern boundary and a solid screen fence near the front portion of the site. The height of the wall was intended to reduce light glare from truck movements early in the morning or in the middle of the night, again, depending on if there was an emergency situation with Southern California Edison, and to reduce the noise that would come from the site. The second condition was a landscape condition that was included that trees and shrubbery be planted along the eastern boundary of the site along the wall. The trees were intended to act not only as a visual buffer to soften the imposing 8-foot wall, but would also serve as a slight noise and fugitive dust safeguard for the residents to the east. The modification being heard this evening is a reconfiguration of the site that includes the relocation of a 120-foot microwave tower to the northeastern portion of the project site, and the reorientation and reduction in size of the administration office near Lake Isabella Boulevard. The applicant was also asking for the removal of the condition regarding the landscape buffer. The applicant proposed a 10-foot masonry wall to replace the landscaping condition as part of this modification. Your commission received an addendum this evening with letters received from the same neighbors adjacent to the site, stating concerns and opposition to the proposed modification and the project in general. Because this conditional use permit has approval and the applicant has complied with several key conditions, such as the installation of type A road improvements, this conditional use permit has been activated. As a matter of information, should this modification be denied, the applicant can still move forward with the previously approved conditional use permit design and construct the site based on the previous approval that addressed the same concerns as the current letters we have received. Staff believes the previous approval and the proposed reconfiguration will continue to meet the intent of your commission to address the concerns of the residents. However, staff cannot support the deletion of the landscape condition along the eastern boundaries, as the purpose of the additional landscaping is intended to function as a visual and noise buffer through the use of the trees and the vegetation to screen the wall. The proposal of replacing that condition with a 10-foot masonry wall for landscaping would be in direct conflict with the spirit of which your commission imposed the condition previously. Staff has recently had a conversation with the applicant regarding the landscape requirement, and the applicant understands the intent and wishes to comply with the landscape condition. With all this in mind, staff recommends denial of the request to remove the landscape condition of the trees and shrubs. In evaluating the reconfiguration of the plan, staff can confirm the minimum requirements of the Kern County zoning ordinance, including site landscaping and parking standards, have been met. And through staff's review of the mitigated negative declaration that was prepared initially for this project and updated studies submitted for this modification, it was found that the original findings have not changed. Thus, the project continues to be in compliance with CEQA. Staff believes implementation of the existing mitigation measures in conjunction with the appropriately revised conditions of approval for the reconfiguration of the site, the reduction in parking and landscaping will ensure any potential impacts resulting from the implementation of the project will be reduced to a less than significant level. Therefore, staff recommends your commission adopt the updated mitigated negative declaration and mitigation measuring monitoring program, approving modification 1 of conditional use permit 10, map number 41-30, and deny the removal of the condition of and deny the removal of condition of approval number 7D, subject to the revised conditions of approval, and adopt the suggested findings as set forth in the attached draft resolution. This concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Simon. Are there any members of the public or the applicant on the line?
Madam Chair, the applicant's representative has registered to speak but is not currently on the line. And we have no members of the public who wish to have, that have requested to speak on this item.
Okay. Are there any comments or concerns from fellow commissioners?
Should we close public comment prior to speaking, Madam Chair?
Yes, we can close public comment, and if for some reason the applicant calls in, will you let us know? Great, thank you. So the public comment period has been closed. Any comments or questions from fellow commissioners?
I do have a few questions for the staff. Madam Chair, do you mind if I reach out to, I'm going to get a couple of clarifications?
Please proceed.
On the old CUP, was there a timeline of expiration on that old CUP?
Yes, there was. And the applicant has, if you, in the staff report, we do address this, that the applicant has conducted one extension of time that has given them that time. But in activating the CUP, there is no extension that is needed past that. So the applicant performed the extension of time. They installed the type A road improvements, which activated the conditional use permit. Thus, there are no other extensions of time that are needed. So this permit is activated and can be constructed at any time.
Any time. And they said there was a reduction in the office space. Is there any request for them to modify the type of use that the building is going to be used for from the original CUP application?
No, not from our knowledge, Commissioner Judge, to the chair. As I understand it, they are just bringing down reducing the size of the office for financial reasons.
For financial reasons. But the use of the office is not going to change by them shrinking the size of the office?
No.
So there's still...
It is still an administration office.
So the original CUP approval will stay the same for the office use?
Absolutely.
I wanted that clarification. So those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Judge. Any other commissioners?
Madam Chair, this is Commissioner McGivney.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question to the staff. Just wanted to clarify how far away the residents that submitted the letter were away from this location. I'm not sure based on the map how far away residences are from there.
Commissioner McGivney, through the chair, I don't know if we have the exact distance, but if Ms. Simon can put up the map real quick, just because we are familiar with the processing before. So most of the residents on the eastern boundary, again, there is the canal that is in between them, and then there's kind of not a landscape, but a little sump area that separates that. And then I can tell you to the south, the property owners are directly adjacent to the facility, directly south of the project site. But I believe most of our comments, and this one came from those residents that are across the canal.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Any other commissioner questions or concerns?
Seeing none, I'm prepared to make a motion. If there's no, I'll make a motion to approve this project right into record, as staff has mentioned, with the clarification that the denial of the 10-foot masonry wall. And that is my motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Judge.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, a roll call vote.
Madam Chair, just because I want to make sure that our record is clear, and if Ms. Simon can help clarify just if we need to. The request was was to delete the landscape buffer, which again, the applicant has indicated, no, we're comfortable having the landscape buffer still there. However, I do believe that their current proposal still proposes a 10-foot wall, masonry wall that would be part of the proposed project if approved. So if your commission adopts the project as presented, it would have a 10-foot masonry wall, but in addition to that, they would also have the landscape buffer.
I will say that staff did not include a condition for the 10-foot masonry wall, so the 8-foot masonry wall still stands as part of the conditions. However, if Mr. Murphy believes that that should be read into the record, that the 10-foot masonry wall should not be included, then I believe that that would be appropriate.
It was my understanding through our conversations today that while the 10-foot comes from the site plan that they've submitted, and it was my understanding through the conversations today that they were going to leave that as it was and then also include the landscape buffer with the trees as well as part of the proposal. Either way, it is your commission's, you can have it be an 8-foot with the trees, or you can have it be a 10-foot with the trees. I just want to make sure that we had this discussion so that it's very clear what the final condition would be when staff goes to implement it. So again, it was my understanding based on the proposal they submitted, yes, they wanted to do a 10-foot masonry wall instead of the landscape buffer. I guess the only clarification I would like from your commission is, do you want it to go back to an 8-foot wall with the landscape buffer, or do you want them to retain the 10-foot masonry wall with the landscape buffer?
So, Mr. Murphy and Madam Chair, if you might comment on that. So just to make sure on this, I understand this as well too. We are clarifying that it is not the removal of a 10-foot masonry wall and only landscaping. It's a combination of keeping the existing landscape of the original CUP and the masonry wall behind it. It's just a discussion of going from 8-foot to 10-foot, correct?
Correct.
And my comment on that is, and please, fellow commissioners, feel free to comment. Constructional-wise, building permit-wise, anything over a certain footage, 7.5 feet, has to be permanent anyways. I have no issue if it's 8-foot or 10-foot. I think we could allow the applicant to say a minimum 8-foot up to 10-foot wall, if that's applicable. Any comment on that? If it is, can we give them that variance to allow them to give the opportunity so that way they're not stuck with the 10-foot, they only want an 8-foot, they up from minimum 8-foot up to 10-foot?
Commissioner, Judge to the Chair, I think that's an appropriate condition. By saying minimum 8, maximum of 10, and then it gives the flexibility for them to decide how they wanted that to be. And then again, the only condition, I just want to make sure that it was very clear that it wasn't a replacement of, that it was the in addition to. But I think that's an appropriate revision to the condition.
Okay, so with that being said, the motion will be modified to notate that in addition to minimum 8-foot up to 10-foot wall, masonry wall, and we'll keep the condition of the landscape as part of the original CUP.
And I reinstate my second.
Perfect. So we have a clarified motion and a second, and we will now move on to a roll call vote.
Mr. Ashley?
Yes.
Mr. Judge?
Yes.
Mr. McGivney?
Yes.
Ms. Skidmore?
Yes.
Mr. Sprague?
Yes.
All ayes.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair, this was a conditional use permit, so if you would like, I'd read the appeal process again.
Please.
For projects where the Planning Commission action is final, those actions are subject to an appeal to the Board of Supervisors by any interested person. Again, no development proposed by any application may be authorized until after the final date of appeal. That appeal may be filed with the Kern County Planning and Natural Resources Department, located at 2700 M Street, Suite 100 in Bakersfield, with a filing fee of $540 on the forms we have available at the department and that are also located on our website. That filing must be made within 14 days of and including the date of tonight's hearing. If no appeal is received, the action of your commission is final.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Thank you, Ms. Simon, for your presentation. We are on to item H. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for June 10th, 2021. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Do you need a motion?
We need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
I will second that.
All ayes? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. There we go.
Just stay with Pro.
its response to atmospheric turbulence